Hey guys, welcome back to Couple Chronicles with
Your boy Lloyd.
and Afia.
So we're married, as you already know, if you didn't know if it's your first time. But we don't always agree. Hence why we have a podcast. But we've chosen to live the life full of love,
Laughter.
laughter, and respect. So buckle up. Take this ride with us as we tackle our first chronicle for the day. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right.
First off, Happy New Year, everyone.
Oh, that is true. Happy New Year. It's a new year, new day. Same energy that we brought last year. Here we go. So the first chronicle is going back to your ex or a past relationship a good thing or a really bad idea?
It depends on why y'all broke up.
Okay, explain.
First off, if he was abusive emotionally, physically, mentally, in any of those capacities, if he wasn't contributing to your growth, no. There's no reason to go back.
That may seem as simple as it is to most people, but obviously people go back to abusive relationships and toxic relationships all the time.
They do. They do.
So like let's just say the relationship wasn't terrible or toxic, abusive or toxic. Y'all ended because of just regular relationship things.
Like what? Like infidelity?
Yes, it all depends. But okay, so go with your thoughts because it's a lot of different layers
I'm just
to
saying,
this.
like if the relationship ended because of infidelity, like why are you going back? Like what has changed?
The person
Like-
might change.
Okay.
Always, one time don't make you a bad person. You know, cheating one time don't make you a bad person. It might have been a lot of reasons. Y'all could have been going through a lot of stuff, and it happened. Depend on your mind what's considered cheating, right? I know it's we like to make it black and white, but it's a lot of gray. But let me answer the question before I go down a rabbit hole. I did it one time. I'm a person that but I think that it's a bad idea.
Going back to your
Straight,
ex.
yeah, not even why I broke up. I just think it's a bad idea. I did it one time in my life. And
Wait, why do you think it's a bad idea?
because we broke up the first time.
Why?
For whatever the reason is, it didn't work. And we chose to end our relationship. So I just don't think about stepping. I don't like to step back. I don't like to go back in time.
Okay.
So for me, I just think it's a terrible idea. And most of the times, it never really worked out.
Right.
Most of the times. The one time I did it, I think it was just spur of the moment. It was during the holidays. I saw her in the grocery store during Thanksgiving. And then next thing you know, I was at Thanksgiving dinner. Next thing you know, I was there for a week. Didn't leave. Next thing you know, the week after, I was like, no, I can't do this. I'm tripping. And I broke up with her. We were just, and again, we was just in, another thing, I'm going to say first, let me end my statement. We were in two different places because we were apart for too long. We grew we didn't really know each other. So going back with her, I realized that you like to think that it will be like time freezes and you're the same person at the same time. That don't work. Like the initial like attraction or the initial like, I call it chemistry, was there because you remember the things that was there. But the more you sit back and you lay there, you're like, I don't want this crap.
Okay, so just to be clear, you feel like it's not a good idea to go back.
I don't think it's a good idea. I think whatever, I think there are some cases, like, again, there are some cases. And those cases are like, let's say I had to move for work and we decided to like separate because long distance and stuff.
So you're
like
saying if you guys didn't end on bad terms, if there was nothing that...
Yeah, let's say it wasn't bad terms. Even if it wasn't bad terms, how you feel?
I think if we didn't end on bad terms, if there was no real damage done to either one of us, and like you said, potentially you had to move for work or I had to move because of college or whatever the case might be, and now we're just revisiting something that was already beautiful where there wasn't any damage done, then sure. But I think if there was damage done, like I said, emotionally, physically, mentally, verbally, then where are we going? Like, why am I moving backwards?
So why do you think those people go back?
To be honest, sometimes I think it's self-work. Like, I think that they need to do the self-work. It's self-esteem. Sometimes you feel like there's nothing better out there for you. You feel like, oh, you know, you've dated Tom, Dick, and Harry and you haven't found anybody better than this person. Also, sometimes, you know, I mean, everybody has their flaws, but I think that, you know, it's...
I'm looking up stats.
You know, sometimes, you know, you feel like at least you know this person's, I guess, faults, right? I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like, sometimes you feel like, at least I know your faults. At least I know what I'm dealing with, right? Like, and granted, like I said, like if he was abusive, babe, we need to go. If he was, mentally abusive, if he wasn't supportive, right? Like if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be an entrepreneur and he's not supportive, right? And you're like, that doesn't work for you, right? Like, what are you going back for?
Have you ever did that? Have you ever breaking up and got back with a person?
Oof. No, I'm trying to think.
No, never did it.
Nah, I'm
Cause I remember one time
like going like okay, like back in a committed
like a
relationship.
relationship, yeah, not
Yeah,
like
nah,
on and off
no,
dating. I mean, like a
no,
relationship.
no. I think I've like how can I say this? I think cause you know, I might have like
Spit it out. Let me see.
I think I might have spin the block, but
spin the block. Okay.
I might have spin the block, but I never
Not to like commit.
Yeah, but never enough to be like, let's, get back in a relationship. Because somehow in spinning the block, I remembered why we weren't together.
That's my point. You kind of always like, I think at first glance or at the first moment, all those like heightened emotions are there. And then you start to see those little signs.
Yeah,
just
you
creep
remember
back in
why.
And you're like, I didn't like this for you. The way you chew, the way you breathe.
No, the way you chew, the way you breathe, the way you smell.
Another funny story is one time I broke up with one of my exes and like, I don't know, it had to be like 2-3 years, even maybe longer than that.
Yeah.
Later, I get a DM and was like,
we should work on things.
Yeah, we should revisit our friendship.
First of all, that's very bold. If a girl DMs you and say, "Hey, we should revisit things," like that's very bold. I commend her.
I don't think my response, what I call it,
you
petty.
Said why? That was petty. That was petty.
It was petty.
It was petty.
I simply responded and said, "Why?"
Yeah.
LOL. I put why LOL, and then she responded like, "What's so funny?" And no, sorry. She said we should revisit our friendship. I said, LOL.
No,
that was my response. Then she was like, "What's so funny?" Then I responded, "Why?" Yeah. And that was the last time I spoke to her. I was like, "Why?" You forgot what happened the first time?
I think sometimes I'm trying to think like, okay.
I hope she's listening, by the way.
I think here's the thing, right? I would be lying if there weren't people that I've dated in the past where who they are today, they've grown so much for the better, okay. Right? And so like who they were when I was dating them versus who they are now is like two different people, right? And most times that's in profession. Maybe they've learned things from the people that they've dated after me, maybe even during me. And now who they are or who they present themselves to be is a completely different person. I remember I always joke, and you know this person, so when I say the story, you're gonna know. But I'm like, dang, like he's a successful chef now, and I'm like, when you were dating me, I was getting deli sandwiches. that was what was for dinner for me, and now like like you're a super successful chef. Like, damn, I was getting a deli sandwich, But it's just sometimes people grow for the better, right? And I think that if there was no, like I said, if there was no harm done to either one of us while we were dating, if we just separated because of time in life, revisiting, spinning the block, I don't think it's the end of the world. I think if you've grown and I'm proud of the person that you've become and I can see myself with that person, there's nothing wrong with seeing, if there's potential there.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily something wrong. I just think it don't work out. Like, I don't think it's right. If you choose to, you choose to. Yeah. I just don't think it works out in the end run. But sometimes even that change, let's say the person, like you said, changes for the better.
Yeah.
Sometimes that don't work still. Like the first story I told about my ex with Thanksgiving or whatever, she was great bank manager and all that type of stuff and had a house and grown since I would like to think I grown too. But I just think the time apart, which I think plays a major role, how much time apart did you actually spend? Because people change every day. Yeah. And being away for like 3 years, 6 months, you're completely different from who you are 6 months ago. And sometimes you just can't break that barrier or bridge that gap rather.
And it's funny because I feel like I could see people having various opinions on this, right? Because sometimes people say, "Oh, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym," right? And now that I'm successful and I've become someone, now you want to be with me. Now you see a future with me, right? Because some people could easily have that perspective. And then on the flip side, I feel like a man should take the stance of, if he's not in a place, to provide for himself, if he's not in a place to provide for himself, how are you really going to provide for a family or a wife, right? And I think that is a mature way of looking at things versus looking at it as from a place of, well, if you wasn't with me shooting in the gym, you shouldn't be with me to reap the benefits of my
I
success.
get that, but what are they supposed to do? They're supposed to like if I'm with you and I don't see any progress or
Right.
any motion, let's just call it motion, right?
Yeah,
Well,
movement,
move. I want to say movement because there's like still movement, but productive movement,
progress.
progress. Like I said,
I don't know because Denzel Washington said you can be,
moving, but not in. Yeah, that's what I
yeah,
said. That's why I said in. That's
you
why I
can
said
be making progress but moving in place. So don't confuse progress with
with
movement.
motion. Yeah. Okay, so progress. Let's keep it as progress. Um,
Let's keep it as movement. They said because you can be making progress and moving in the same place and not moving at all. So you need to be make sure
well, they
you're
said no. You could be
moving.
moving but not making
So
progress.
needless to say, we need to have Denzel Washington on the episode. Come on
Ah.
over. Okay, we're trying to dissect what you said.
But going back
Uh-huh.
to what you said, like if I don't see people look at it as like they said their comment, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym.
Right.
If I'm with you and you're not making any progress,
Yeah.
what would make me stay? So if I meet you later on in life in 2 years from now and you become successful, whatever,
Yeah.
that's attractive. It's not that
Yeah.
I broke up with you because I did break up with you because you wasn't shit.
Yeah.
You wasn't doing nothing.
Right.
Whatever.
I also think that sometimes you need to separate in order to focus, right? Sometimes you do need to take a break from the relationship, you know, to focus on yourself and to better yourself. And that's hard. That's a harsh reality. Like sometimes that could be medical school. Sometimes that could be focusing on becoming a lawyer. Sometimes that could focus on just focusing on self. Like
That don't work for me.
I know.
I
No,
need
no,
a
no. I
person.
know. I
I'm a
know.
person that focuses when I have someone.
Yeah.
When I don't have nobody,
That's
my
why you're
focus is my.
that's why you're so much better with me. Anybody that knows my husband will say he's a different man than when you met him.
I can't.
Okay?
I can't focus when I'm by
No,
myself.
I agree.
I got too
You're
much distractions. And
yeah,
too much
and you
stuff
like
do.
to like bounce ideas,
Yeah.
off of your partner. So I get that, but some people are not like that. Sometimes people use the person they're in a relationship with as a distraction, right? And sometimes you need to take a moment from that person in order to refocus on yourself. And like you said, that's hard. That's a harsh reality.
Well, let us know your thoughts, people. Do you think it's a good idea or
Yeah, spinning the
leave that
block.
alone? Or you? She
Spinning the
said,
block. And when I say spin the
as
block,
the
young
Brooklynites say,
man,
spin the block.
trying to spin the block.
Topic 2. Let's go. Let's give it to him.
Let's see. Can someone you have sex with only be a friend?
Ooh.
And this is good to hear from a male's perspective.
Oh, my perspective is very simple. So let's be clear. So if you if you had sex with someone before, can they really truly be only considered a friend? I think the answer is no.
Yeah.
I have a very blunt, somewhat vulgar way of defining that.
Yeah.
Anyone that knows what your private parts look like, anybody that know what your vagina or your penis look like, cannot be your friend.
Yeah.
We can be friendly. You don't have to hate the person, but I can't introduce this young lady to my wife as my friend, knowing that I know what your vagina look like or you know what my vagina look like. Again, true friends. I don't believe it. Again, not that you have to be enemies. That's not what I'm saying. But we're at dinner together with her and her partner, and we look at each other across the room, and then a slight flashback happened, and you're like, oh, I remember that one time
I was
up
standing
against,
from the back.
up against the wall and all that type of stuff. It's too much. Again, you could be courteous, you could be respectful, all that stuff. But I have this rule too, not rule, I guess it's a rule, but I have this rule, like if we're in a place and she had intercourse or something with somebody that we just happen to be around, I just like to know first.
Yeah.
And then I could deal with it. Not that I'm going to ignore the person or don't have a conversation with the person, because I'm not that person. I could really have a conversation with the person. But now I know to draw the line somewhere. We're not exchanging numbers and about to go play basketball together and all that vibe. I'm not that cool. I'm very relaxed, but I'm not that lax.
Yeah.
That's my thing. So I personally, and sorry, one more thing. I think that question differs very much between men and women.
Yeah.
Women will have a best friend that they were having sex with for 10 years and be like, this is my best friend, and introduce them as such. With no...
10 years is a drag.
I'm pushing it, right?
10 years is
I'm going over, but I know plenty of, that's my best friend. Y'all had sex. Y'all see
I definitely know women
that
that
say
have
that.
male
I
friends
don't
that
think
they
that's
that they've hooked up with. I know a few, several.
I don't think that's cool. Not that it's
Yeah,
cool. I don't think they're your true friend. Not
yeah,
that they don't mean well for you
yeah,
or best for you, but
yeah,
nah. I think true friendship is platonic.
yeah.
That's mine. Yeah, there you
Meaning,
go.
yeah, like you feel like there was no sexual chemistry there.
I think that's true friendship. Anyway, go. That's my point.
No, like, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just genuinely know a lot of women that have male friends that they've hooked up with.
And they say that's just their friend,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You say it's just a
The friend.
friend.
I'm like,
How
no,
do you feel about
seriously.
it? Or how do they talk
Uh,
about their friend?
honestly, like I would be lying if they didn't genuinely talk about them from a place of being a friend. I also feel
The
like,
woman mind works in
yeah, no,
mysterious
no, no,
ways,
I
boy.
agree. I also feel like, sometimes when you choose to friend zone somebody,
Hmm.
like you're putting your mind in a place of this is my friend. It's almost like, you always say men and women couldn't be friends without one person friend zoning the other. I think it's almost like that when you've kind of hooked up with a male friend as well. Like, you've
It
decided
just sounds bad when I hooked up with a male
it
friend.
does. No, it
Right.
does.
I
It
know,
does.
I know, I
But
know.
I'm thinking because I like I said, I have several female friends that like have hooked up with male friends and like they still hang out with those guy friends. And I've experienced both sides where, you know, they might spin the block, on a horny drunk night,
Mhm.
or it literally is just friendship. Like I'm just cool with him. So I have friends that definitely have done both. I think it's really more of a mental space, in my opinion. Kind of like, when you always tell me a guy has to get to a certain place to ejaculate, right?
Mhm.
To not. I think it's kind of like the same thing when it comes to putting a male in the friend zone. It's like, okay, you're my friend,
A
we're
mental
friends.
block. It's
It's
a
a
mental block.
mental, yeah, it's a mental block. I genuinely think it's that because, like I said, I really have female friends that they've hooked up with these male friends, and like now they only view them as friends. They have met their new person that they're dating, like they've hung out with them, and they really feel no type of way and can give advice and can hang out from an unbiased place.
So that's the other point I was just about to make and be clear to the audience, right? I'm not talking about if you're two single people and you're just having sex, friends with benefits. Like that you could do, you're having fun, right? Like
But you're
that's
saying after the friends with benefits part,
yeah, and
right?
and specifically now when you're in a new relationship, like
Right.
explaining to your partner
Like, oh
or
yeah, like
introducing this is just my friend.
because now like you have created that mental block, like you've put up like, hey, like this person is my friend. I used to like date people long enough to be in a place of I don't want to be with you, like I don't see a future with
But
you.
do you consider them friend?
No, I don't.
Yes.
None of them are no longer my friends, so I understand your perspective. But sometimes like you even have friends
Uh-huh.
that have told you, hey, like they're dating somebody right now, but they realize we might not be compatible and we really might just be better as friends. Like that happens. Like literally, we just had this conversation last week with a mutual friend. He literally said, we really might just be compatible, like better friends.
But would he I hear that.
He
But would he
literally,
introduce her as a friend? This is
he
my
would like
friend.
if they're hanging out now, they're friends. He like because okay, for instance, in this particular example, right? Like he likes a very conservative type of woman in every aspect, in the way she carries herself, the way she speaks, even to be honest, in her demeanor with other men. And he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that's just the type of person like he doesn't like that. He doesn't want a woman that does that, right?
Mhm.
For whatever reason, that's not his type. So she's a great person, but that doesn't align with who she is. Like, he literally said out of his own mouth, mind you, they've already had sex. We really just might be better as friends because I'm not going to change who she is. There's nothing wrong with her. I just happen to like someone that's a lot more conservative, a lot less outspoken.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying?
So in so
I think it's a mental block. I think I don't think it's impossible, and that might not be what most men want to hear. But like I said,
most
I
most
like
men won't agree
yeah,
with that.
and right,
I
and
think
that's
most women are
fine.
gonna agree with you.
Right, like, and I can accept that because I am speak. Like I said, I do have female friends that really do have male friends that they've hooked up with. I don't have any, but like all my male friends, I haven't had sex with them, but I don't think that. I don't think I would, even if I did, I don't think I would be sitting there like, damn, he was hitting it from the back real good. Like,
Man, look, the drinks start hitting and you
right. And
start,
you
you know what
start
I'm
looking
saying?
nigga. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I've
Somebody
had
make a joke at
single,
the table and y'all
right.
both like,
That-
y'all, now the partners looking at each other like,
yeah, that's not funny. Yeah. No, I feel like I would be really upset. But that's where it gets tricky, right? Because now you have this person around your partner, and that's how threesomes happen, right? Like, unless you're on the other side,
I mean,
right? Like,
that's not a bad thing in that sense, if that's where
yeah,
it goes.
right.
But another thing, another layer to that is now where I can understand
Mm-hmm.
is now not necessarily married, but people who have kids, and now you have to introduce them to their partner. That is more understandable. Like let's say we had kids and we split up, and then you have a new partner. Now we have to like because now my son is over at this guy's house or whatever. So now you introduce me. Well, no, you won't be introduced as a friend. You'll be introduced as this is my ex-husband, this is my baby
Yeah,
daddy. So
yeah.
that's a little different. No, that's a little different.
Like
That's
I
a lot
said,
different. Anyway.
I think in most instances, and like I said, I am, what this podcast has taught me is that men and women definitely come from different planets, and we completely think differently in almost every instance. But and I'm not saying I disagree with you. I don't think that I matter of fact don't think it's not even. I know I would not be okay with you still being friends with someone that you had sex with, let alone bringing them around me or in my home or around my son. I would
Talking
kill
about we
you.
friends. Talking
Talking
about
about
we going to the movies.
Right, talk about we're going to the movies. Yeah, like I would
You
kill
must
you.
be out your mind.
Like I would go to jail. So
I'll be like revisit that friendship.
Right.
Because you're not over that yet.
Right, 100%. But on the same token, I swear to you, I would be lying if I could literally right now just it comes to my mind 2 close friends that are like they still hang out with people that they've hooked up with.
And let me ask you a question: do they still have sex?
So one of them, like on a drunk night, but like outside of that, normally no, and then the other one no.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
Right, but it also is like I don't know, like it's tricky, and like I said, I definitely think when it comes to the mental block of like just really pushing somebody. Okay, you were friends now. This is all it's gonna be. But I think what's scary is I think once how can I say the walls are so blended, right? Like the moment you're not in a relationship,
You could easily cross back
it's
over,
easily
and that's
like,
that's not I don't say my problem with it, but that's my idea of it.
yeah,
Like it's even when you're in a relationship. Let's say the other person is not in a relationship, and it's that one horny night that they have, and they're like,
yeah.
you know what? Let's just do it for
Yeah.
whatever sake or whatever. I'm sure because
You know what it is? And I've had this conversation before. We're human beings, right? And we all have moments of vulnerability. And I think
And
actually
weakness.
and weakness, right? Because essentially we all have moments where we might be going through things. You always say when the moon is
when the moon is full and the tide is high
yes,
and the stars align.
and you might be going through something, and when you're vulnerable, it does make it easy to like whatever.
Especially this person you had sex with already. So why get a new body when I could just jump on this that I've had already?
Yeah.
I think it's
That's
too
why
easy.
I always say.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say right now.
When I was like, what was the last question? The last chronicle, you said, "Is it okay? Why y'all broke up?" No, you asked me, "Is it okay to spin the block?" And I said, "Depends on how good the sex was."
And imagine that, right? Imagine this dude was like breaking your back, or this girl was like getting your best sex you ever had.
I think
Talking about friend, your mind gonna be running all the time on that.
I think both of those actually is my answer now that I think
What's
about it.
that?
Like to the first chronicle, is it okay to spin the block with an ex? And also this one is somebody that you
It depends on how good the sex was.
It depends on how
That's
good
your
the
answer
sex
to
was.
both questions.
Yeah, like actually I'm thinking about it because if we're friends and you're the best and we hooked up, I can't be friends. If you're the best sex I ever had, right? Because now, like, if we're friends, I've like experienced other people. I've experienced people before you, and now you done split my shit. Like, it's no,
God, the Brooklyn coming out.
it's no way in the world. Like, and now I'm looking at you, and in the back of my mind, it's always gonna be there. Like, damn, that was the best sex I ever had. And also too, right? Because think about it, if we're friends, right? That means we're connected on more than just a relationship level. Because when you're dating someone, you're interested in a relationship way, right? But like if you're friends with somebody, you're connected with them in a different way, right? That's why they say your partner should also be your best friend. So like if we're friends, there is a level of vulnerability there. There is a level of trust there. There is a level of sometimes you kick it with your friend. You laughing, yeah, you
I
kikiing.
get all that.
You know what I mean? And now like y'all hooked up
possible is a
and
good
now
idea.
you like, oh my God.
All the
oh my
reasons I don't think it's a
this
good
sex
idea.
is so good. It's no way we could be friends. There is no way. Like honestly, and if I wanted to friend zone you, you wanted to friend zone me, like we would just have to walk away because there's no way you can go back not thinking like, damn, he really just bust my shit.
See, for me, it's also very simple because I don't have close female friends.
Yeah.
Again, for that purpose, like I didn't not intentionally per se.
Yeah.
I just.
And sometimes when you're connected to somebody, that's what they say intimacy or foreplay starts before the bedroom, right? I think because now, like, imagine this person understands you in your most vulnerable state, right? They understand, they know everything about you, your deep, dark secrets, and now you've kind of crossed over to more of an intimate level, right? Now, like, you're tying souls with this person, not just from a, relationship standpoint, but from a, vulnerable friendship standpoint as well. So I don't know. Like I just actually I agree with you. I agree. The more like this is setting in because it's true. Like it's true. Like when I'm thinking about it from a place of, well, damn, how good was the sex? Right? Like if the sex was the best sex I ever had in my life, there's no way we can go back to being friends.
I feel like we just changed from a relationship podcast to now a sex podcast.
Oh no, because I'm really thinking about it. Like if the sex was amazing, like how do we like just act like that never happened?
You can't. My point
can't.
exactly.
You can't. You can't.
Either way, for those of you who can, quote unquote,
please chime in here because I would love
salute
to know.
Salute to you.
Yes, no, but that's what I'm saying because if the sex was trash.
Then that's easier.
You see what I'm saying? Like if the sex was trash, it's definitely it's easier to be like, all right, this didn't work out. See you later. But if the sex was amazing, boy.
One more thing before we go. My last point is like that's why I'm very clear when we start dating.
Yeah,
this is your friend.
Yeah.
Did y'all have sex?
Yeah.
I need to know. I ask these questions.
But I feel like if this is your friend,
questions.
first of all, I feel like if that's her friend, if you guys are friends, right, that means the sex wasn't that good. You shouldn't be intimidated either way.
I'm not intimidated. Period. I just need to know.
No. If the sex was amazing, I'm intimidated.
I'm not intimidated.
You can't. No.
It's gonna always be somebody better than you.
No.
There is always gonna be somebody better than you.
No.
That's not why y'all not together. If it was that, why y'all not together?
Because it wasn't the best sex she ever had.
Anyway, that's another topic. Let's move on.
If it was the best sex she ever had, I feel like she would be.
Chime in.
It might be much harder to be like.
Let me know.
Especially if you're single, and then imagine you get a new boyfriend, and then the sex with him is not as good, and now you're in the back of your mind like, damn.
Now her mind is running.
I'm just saying.
All right, let's move on to our third topic. I got again. Let us know what you think. If I know a lot of ladies gonna have a lot of things to say about that one, but and guys, it's gonna be two completely different.
Yes, because the guys are going to be like, absolutely not. You cannot be friends with a guy that has smash. And the women are going to be like, you can.
We could be friends. We're mature. That's
yes.
I can hear it.
And they're going to say, well, once you friend zone somebody, they're friends. That's it. And you have to trust that it's nothing more than that.
I call bullshit. Chronicle 3. In a relationship, do people lie because they care or because they don't care?
They lie because they're liars.
True enough. And that's self-explanatory, but you want to
They lie because they're liars.
Okay, so then
that is it. That is the end all be all. That is the high and the low, the low.
I disagree to a not disagree. That's what I said. To a certain extent, but I disagree. I think people lie because they care about your feelings.
Yeah.
I think for me, the moment I don't try to, if I don't, again, I'm not saying anything just to hurt your feelings, but the moment I don't care about anything that I tell you, like for instance, even let's call it, what they call what we tell our children, like white lies, little white lies.
Yeah.
So for instance, right, we have a son, right? And right now, he understands me going to work.
Yeah.
He understands me playing poker.
Yeah.
Right? He understands it too. Sometimes I go play poker and I tell him I'm going to work.
Mm-hmm. Don't lie to my
I'm
son.
just saying, it's a white lie. I don't want I'm trying to. I don't want him to think I'm leaving him to go play poker. Not that it's like that, but I know he's getting very attached right now. So he understands me work, what work means. Kyra have to go to work. Wow, you got to make money? Yes, I got to make money.
Yeah.
So same thing in a relationship, right? I think the people who
Versus when you go play poker, he'd be like, again?
That's-
Exactly. Exactly.
That's
It's
good.
okay.
So I think if I did something that I know, and this is gonna, I'm gonna get this, whatever. If I did something that I know that made you upset, but I did something, and I personally don't think it's a big deal. Like I'm talking about white lies, right? Like I ain't talking about infidelity. I'm not talking about anything. Like that. Just something. I don't know what it is. If I did something that let's use smoking. We bring up that all the time, right? But we don't smoke. But let's say people smoke cigarettes. You see on Friends where Chandler had to like
he was hiding.
Hiding, smoking because he know.
Yeah.
His wife don't like it, or he was trying to quit, or whatever that situation was. Like stuff like that. He cared about what she think, even though he had his craving and he wanted to soothe his craving.
Yeah.
But he lied about that because he cared. If he was out there, and again, I'm not condoning lying. No, I know y'all gonna come for me. I get all that. But if he didn't care about her feelings, or didn't care about it, he would be smoking in the house and don't give a shit. I don't care what you say, and smoking. I think that's the line where the person who lies cares. So I guess it depends on the lie. Kind of. I know it sounds bad. I know it sounds bad, but if I lied to you, is because if I ever lied to you, is because I care about how it will make you feel. I don't want to hurt you. And you're gonna say, well, if it's gonna hurt me, don't do the thing. Yeah, we all know that.
It's like he knows the answer.
Yeah, but it's not, we always say the world is not so black and white. There's a lot of gray. Like, I'm just being honest with it. I'm just being honest with it.
It's tricky.
Your parents have lied to you.
It's tricky because I feel like, I'm a God's girl, if you didn't know. And I feel like God has a way of always revealing the truth. Always. He always does. And so I feel like in situations where it might be a small lie, a little white lie, whatever the case might be, the truth is always revealed to me in one facet or another. And I believe that. So I would much rather, you be honest with me than you lie to me, because the worst thing that could possibly happen is me view you as a liar, small or big, right? Is me having to question your judgment, having to question what you say out of your mouth, having to question, is what you're actually telling me the truth. I would hate to question anything that comes out of your mouth. Like, I would hate to feel like, there's loopholes that you're telling me part of the truth, that you're not telling me the entire truth. And then ultimately later, the other half is going to come out.
But baby, you can't handle the truth. I'm just playing. That's just
Nah,
a movie. That's a movie line. That's a movie line. That's a movie line.
But no, because I feel like whether it's little white lies, ultimately, they lead to bigger lies.
I get your point. I just, in a perfect world, but we don't live in a perfect world. Yes, that happens. But I've lied at my job. I've lied to my parents. Not because I love them less, not because I don't need my job. Like, when I used to work for people, I think I talked about this today with one of my clients.
You know what it is? Lying for me is a reflection of a much bigger issue. For me, it's a character flaw. I remember recently I was having a conversation with one of our friends, and he has a great heart, right? Great intentions. And although I understand his intentions, I literally stopped and told him, please stop lying, because I like you as a person. I consider you a really good friend. And the fact that you're consistently lying for me is a character flaw. And that ultimately will change the way that I view you and deal with you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes and no.
Like, being a liar is not a great quality in any capacity. I don't care if it's a small. I would rather you be upset with me for telling you the truth. I would rather you be upset with me for owning my truth than create a pattern of consistently lying to me.
I understand that. There's nobody on this planet Earth that hasn't lied. Or will there ever be? Maybe Jesus. That was probably the only person. What I mean by that is, like, politicians lie. Your teachers lied to you. We've all lied to our parents. I'm sure our parents have lied to us. Like, I've lied to my job when I used to tell my job I'm not coming to have diarrhea. Like, that's a lie. I didn't want to come in. I know I'm not a bad person. I'm not taking what you're saying lightly. I'm just not taking what you're saying so heavily, is what I'm saying. It's nobody on the face of the earth that hasn't lied. And I understand your character. I understand what you're saying in at your core. I understand all that. But we're not a perfect people. Or again, when there's matters of depending on the situation, you're talking about white lie. Again, this is just my belief, right? Like for instance, right? Like let's say my mom wanted me to come somewhere and I really didn't want to go. I might lie and tell her, "Oh, I have my son. I can't come." 'Cause I don't want to hurt my mom's feelings. Like that mean you love her less? No, you care about your mom's feelings. That don't mean you're a bad person. Your character is diminished or or tainted. Like you just didn't want to go and you don't want to hurt your mom's feelings. You did that because you love and you care about her feelings. That's the type of lie I'm talking about. And it's not always in a relationship. You don't want to hear this, or people might not want to hear this, or whatever. If y'all come for me, I just think sometimes you lie because you don't want to hurt your partner's feelings, and that's just the way it is. Nothing too deep for me, but I understand what you're saying.
And what was the other option? The option, what, read back?
No, just the opposites. Because you care, or you don't care.
I feel like people lie because they're selfish.
Like again,
Like I think
I
I
agree
don't.
with you too.
There's nothing. I just don't. For me, using your example, you said if you didn't want to go with your mom, you would say I have to watch my son. I probably would just tell my mother I don't want to go because I don't feel like it.
Mhm.
Like I don't. For me, it's not that deep. Like I don't want. Like I don't. Like I don't. Like I said, I don't want to create that habit. I don't want to create that pattern. I understand what you're saying about little white lies. I don't lie to you. Like like you would probably say, Afia, you're too direct. I don't like that outfit. I don't like that shirt. I don't like them shoes. Them jeans gotta go. Like you might be like, Afia, like, you're too honest. I just, to create that in a relationship, it's just not necessary. Like, for what? Like, what is it? What is it going to do? It's gonna do more harm than good. Anything, like I said, for me, anything that you have ever lied about to me has always been revealed to me, and so for me, it's just like I would rather you always be upfront with me than me find out and then just be like, why would you lie about something so small like that? Or why would you lie about something like that? It's not even that. You know what I mean? Like, and if it's something OD, it better come with a Chanel bag and a dog. Not just a Chanel bag. It better come with the Chanel bag and the dog too. Not like that. I'm not trying to make fun, but I'm just saying that I don't know. I think that I'm such an honest person that I think I would rather you always just keep it 100 with me than having me look at you like, why would you lie about something so small? Because if you could lie about something so small, you could lie about something much bigger. And that's how I'm always going to look at it. And now I'm going to question everything that comes out of your mouth for no reason. It's not necessary.
I got you. I understand your point.
I'm just
I
saying.
know. I know. I understand your point. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think there's a lot of gray area in between.
I think people choose for it to be gray, right? Like I think I can much rather respect people, that just like I know men that just disappear or don't say anything, and you're like, how could you not say anything? Because their truth is not what the female wants to hear, right? But that's their truth, right? Like, yes, your feelings are hurt, but they will be hurt either way. Like, if he tells you he's dealing with just you and he's dealing with multiple people, your feelings are hurt. Like, if he tells you I'm dealing with multiple people, your feelings are still hurt. So either way, your feelings are still hurt. I would rather deal with it for face value and know what it is rather than, oh, you're lying to me. And people always say, it's funny, one of my friends, we just had this conversation, and she said, Afia, oftentimes, and I'm not saying this is not true, but people are happier not knowing sometimes. And
I tell you that.
Yeah, like
Not
people
me.
are happier not knowing. And I agree.
I'd rather not know.
Yeah, you always say that, but I agree. But like for me, the little white lies is not even. It's not even. It's like for what? It's not even necessary. Like it's not going to do anything but change the way that I look at you and cause more harm than good.
I understand. I respect your opinion. No, it's tit for tat again. Not tit for tat, but it's
Yeah.
Apples and oranges. That's two different sides. I agree with what you're saying. Like I do see your, your comments about or your feelings about small lies turns into big lies. You don't see my side of it, but that's okay.
Yeah, no.
Uh, that's okay. So tell me, guys. Y'all guys always chime in. Let me know what you think. We care or they don't care. Let us know. Last chronicle for the day.
How long should a person wait during the engagement period before setting a ceremony date to be married?
Of course, this is a you know situational question, right? But it should have some guidelines. So if I propose to you, let's say us, when I proposed to you,
Mhm.
we were engaged for how long?
2 years.
About 2 years. Did we set a date?
Mm-mm. No.
Okay, one day she just woke up, I swear, like she does many a times with an idea, and she was like, "Let's just get married." And we did. We planned. Well, I would say we. She planned our wedding in 3 months.
4 months.
4 months, and it was the best wedding I ever been to. By the way, y'all should have been there. It was the best wedding I ever been to. Um, I think this question is very interesting to me because I think it's more so along the line for women. How long should you wait? How long should you stay engaged without being what you call it, a fiance versus being a wife? And I think it's based on like the man not you well, I guess it's the man, but you guys not really actually get into the pulpit. How long does that I think it's the same as if you're dating for 20 years and y'all never get engaged.
And
If you believe in marriage, in the whole concept of marriage.
and what's your thoughts? How long?
I don't I think that's a tough one. I think that after at least 5 years of engagement, and this is like at the long stretch, I don't think you should wait that long. But let's just say 5 years. At 5 years, if y'all are engaged, y'all should start making plans to either get there or exit.
Yeah.
I think 5 years is a fair number because I'm gonna take some of um your ideas. Sorry, but you can still repeat it. If it's a financial thing,
Right.
y'all should have a plan, some type of 5 year
Yeah.
plan. And then even if at the 5 year mark, y'all still not right with y'all finances, which is a whole nother situation because you're about to get married. But there's other cheaper ways
Yeah.
to get married. Go to the court.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a big
Yeah.
wedding.
I think to your point, it's why what's the delay?
What's the holdup?
Yeah, what's the hold up? Like what's the
So
delay?
it depends on the holdup.
Yeah, like it depends on when you got engaged, right? Like if you got engaged at 20, waiting 5 years to 25, it's not the end of the world.
hmm
You know, I think anything potentially after 25 or 27,
Okay.
I would say 2 years.
2 years.
I think after
2 years
2
of engagement.
years, like we should at least be having a conversation on when we're getting married. Like
People
what the
conversate
date.
all the time. We talk every day.
Oh,
We need to have a plan.
right,
We
a
need to
plan,
have a
a
date. No, I know. I'm just
a
trying to be
plan, a
clear.
conversation. We should be on the same page as to when we're actually walking down the aisle because there are some people that stay engaged and never actually walk down the aisle.
Never get
It's
to
a
the
thing.
never
And
get to
they
the
never get
pulpit.
to they
Yeah.
never get to the altar.
Never get. It's a
Um,
pulpit or altar. The same thing.
Same
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say probably after 2 years, we at least need to have a plan in place, right? Because you can get very comfortable being engaged. And I say that because you could have, it's almost like this promise, you know, to forever without the paperwork. You understand? Like it's almost like, oh no, we're getting married, we're getting married, we're getting married. And now you feel comfortable playing house, you feel comfortable having kids potentially, you feel comfortable buying a car, buying a home. You feel potentially, comfortable doing all of these things. But in actuality, it's like, well, you're not technically married, but because you have a ring on your finger, you feel comfortable, making all of these jumps as you should, as long as there's a plan in place. I feel like, there's a lot of people that never get past engagement because it's like, well, what's the rush to marriage? We're already engaged. Like, babe, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. But, it's almost like this promise to forever without the paperwork.
So you think it's
It's a
just
sweet spot. It's a sweet spot that you can get very comfortable in.
so you think the main reason is comfortability? Because
Oh,
that was gonna be my I didn't
yeah.
think
Well,
about
no,
it.
I think people that don't that wait that where it's not a financial issue, and they're not too young. I do think it's a comfortability thing. I think it's like, well, we already live together, we already have bills together, we potentially already have kids together. There's really no pressure to spend 50 or $60,000 to get married, right? And so if one person does want this huge wedding and then the other person doesn't care but doesn't want to spend 50 or $60,000 on the wedding, now there's no rush. Like, I don't want to spend 25 grand. I don't even have 25 grand, or 25 grand is all that I have to my name. Why would I blow it on a day? Right? And so there's that conversation. There is that, because weddings cost, right? Sometimes you don't have family members to lean on. You don't want to take out a loan, right? And so there then has to be some type of compromise. But outside of all of those things, you really can start a life together and start living your life in its full capacity without having to actually jump and sign the paperwork, without actually having to, fully commit. It's almost like a 75% commitment without actually pulling the trigger. And I think it's such a comfortable zone, because if, marriage is such a scary thing. It is. It's a scary thing. It's this idea of committing to one person and their needs, and vice versa, them committing to your needs, to death do us part, right? And I always say that's a long time. So I think sometimes, when you kind of sit in those thoughts, it can become scary. And you're like, you know what? I know I love you and I know I want to be with you forever, but like, let's just stay engaged for a while until you become comfortable with the concept of forever. And it also seems like you can still kind of leave. And you can leave either way.
So that was
But
going to
like,
be where I disagree with you. You answered your response now is what I was going to say. Because first you was like, oh, comfortability. I think fear is what keeps people from actually jumping the broom, per se. I think in their time, in that engagement period, they learn things about their partner that
they're not sure about.
Yeah. And one thing delays another, and wait for this, and one thing delays another one. That they might use, not that it's not, but they might use the finance situation as an excuse. I won't call it a reason, because as I said, there's difference between excuse and reasons, right? As an excuse to keep delaying the process because they're not sure. Because if you're sure, you're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Both parties, women,
parties.
men. If you're sure, you're gonna make it happen.
I think sometimes, sometimes it really is financial. I think sometimes it's really like you really do hope of this, grand wedding, but then when it comes down to the nooks and crannies of it, like, weddings are so expensive. And you might not even have that capital, let alone wanting to go into debt for it, let alone if you did have that capital, would you want to blow it all on one day? Like, especially if you already have kids, because once you have kids, your priorities change. And that, you're like, well, I can put this money away for my kids' future, for college.
Some people never get there, you know that, right? Financially.
Right.
Like in life. So what do you do then? Don't get married?
No, you just have a more affordable wedding. I think that
Okay,
really
so then
you can go to
so
the
then the money
courthouse.
don't matter then, right? Because
Right.
now you understand where your finances are. You guys are in love, so make plans accordingly.
Right. No, I agree. I completely agree. I think, like I said, people they get comfortable, because we were engaged for 2 years after we were engaged for 2 years before we got married. But when we were engaged, there was no problems. Like, we were chilling. Like, yeah, I got up and said, let's get married, but there was no pressure to get married. There was no.
I remember the reason why we I can't even.
Yeah,
So
there
long
was.
ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember saying like, "Oh, we can't afford the wedding."
No,
or
there
anything
was
like that.
no, there was never there was never a date set. There was never pressure around finances, figuring out each other's finances, if we could even afford to get married. When we got engaged, like, none of those things were a
Crossed our
conversation.
mind,
Yeah, crossed our mind, or were
Mhm.
even a conversation. And they didn't become a conversation until we actually started planning the wedding, right? And
Then I was like, "Oh shit, this shit gonna
right.
cost a lot of
It's
money."
a lot of money. No, weddings are so expensive.
I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
In 3 months, I gotta cough up this amount of
yeah,
money.
no,
God.
weddings are so, and it's so funny because we got married so long ago, and like, I don't think when you go into it, you don't necessarily, like, I don't think you sign up to spend as much money as you do, and then by the end of it, you're like, damn, how much did we spend? Like, you don't even realize, right? But yeah, needless to say, I think sometimes being engaged for such a long period of time can be such a comfortable place that you have to push yourself out of it. You have to push yourself to remind you, hey, we are here to actually get married and get to the altar and, tie the knot and make this a union.
All right, so just to be clear, my answer to the question was, I think 5 years
I
is,
think too.
and you think dependent on age,
Yes.
from like 20 to
Yes.
25,
I think
5
depending
years
on
is acceptable.
Yes.
After like 26, 27, you think
Yes.
2 years is a,
Yes, I think depending on the age that you got engaged, I think depending on your finances, 2 to 5 years.
2
So
to
I
5
think if you
years.
got married, very young, sure. Like there's
Engaged for a
nothing,
long time.
yeah, it's nothing wrong with being engaged for a long time. I think if you are over the age of 25, I would say
About 2 years
two
of engagement
years,
should be
and
fine.
you guys should at least be having the conversation or planning the actual wedding, knowing, okay, are we a year out? Are we 2 years out? I even think, to be honest, from when you got engaged, it wouldn't hurt to even start a little bit of a savings, whether it's $20 a month, $100 a month to put towards the wedding, because weddings are so expensive. And the worst thing that you can do is, mess up your entire life trying to pay for a 1 day party.
Where people come eat, leave, and don't leave any gifts.
Yeah. And only invite people that leave a gift.
That's another topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. That's our fault. Again, let us know what you think about that. What's your time period? Is anybody in our following or subscribers in that engagement period? Hope we strike some fire
Yes. And
under
if you
that
guys
butt.
are, at least start having the conversation. Like, if you guys are in that 2 to 5 year, at least start having the conversation on when you're gonna pull the trigger. Because nobody wants to say why buy
Let's bring this
the
up.
milk?
Why buy the cow?
Why buy the cow
If you already got the milk.
got the milk? Okay, that is a real thing. Don't be playing house out here, people.
Every topic she said that.
Yes. Why buy the what is
Why
it?
buy the cow when you have the milk already?
Why buy the cow when you already have the milk?
Okay.
Right? Like don't let girls.
Girls.
I'm a girl's girl. Don't let these men, you know what I'm saying, keep you in an engagement period. Start having the conversation. Pick a date. How about this? Feel them out. Right? Like if you've been engaged over 2 years, right? Like to see where his head is at, put a date on it. Like, oh, babe, what do you feel about getting married in 6 months? And see where his reaction is. And that will let you know if he's ready to pull the trigger or if you guys really need to have other conversations.
Or y'all gonna break up.
But don't let, either way, both ways, don't waste each other's time. Like, life is too short.
Got you. Take us home, baby.
Thank you guys for watching this week's episode of Couples Chronicles with
your boy Lloyd
and Afiya. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share at Couples Chronicles Podcast.
See you guys next time. Peace.